Shalom. Call Halal Yahweh Shemel Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And this video was put up by the brother of the House of Mourning 144, and it's called Lynching Blacks Was Public Theater at Local Town Square. Esau Traded Lynching Postcards and Barbecue. The video is 20 minutes long. I haven't watched the entire video. I watched about half of it. I highly suggest that you watch this video, especially those of you who that don't think that Esau Edom is your enemy. Esau Edom is the so-called white man, by the way, if I didn't say that before. And that nature of Esau Edom is come out again in these last days. And believe me, the type of spirit that they had then, that spirit has been resurrected, and Esau is getting ready to really show his horns. All right, but this is the book of Galatians 6 and verse 7, and it reads, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." So everything that these people have done, injuries and wickedness that they have done to the Israelites here in Babylon and abroad, they are going to pay for. There is no way around it. The Lord is going to give them over into the hands of Jacob, and punishment is going to be rendered unto them. And this is, as a matter of fact, using some of the images that they used in this very video. I did a video called based upon James 2 and 13 many years ago, using the book Without Sanctuary, which is the book that has compiled almost all the images that you see in this video in it. And they deleted that video, said it was hateful. So how is it hateful? Toward whom? It was just, it's their history and their true nature and their history. And mind you, this was done. These are the same Christians, the fathers of all and of your pastors of John Hagee and Olson and all these famous Edomite pastors. These are their fathers and their grandfathers that did these crimes, these Christians. So mind you, this was done often Sunday right after church too. This is James 2 and 13, and it says, "For he shall have judgment without mercy that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment."
Jasper, Texas, 1998. The bestial murder of a 46-year-old black man, James Byrd, forced the American public to open its eyes to decades of hidden violence. 3 members of the Ku Klux Klan dragged James Byrd from a car until his body was torn apart. For the first time in U.S. history, white men received the death penalty for the...
Now, if you don't know that story about James Byrd, they tied a chain, the chain that you saw the prosecutors handling, around his leg or his arm, I forget which, and they drug him on a concrete road at 70 miles per hour until it ripped his body in pieces. All right, his body was ripped in pieces over miles of a country road, and this is the sort of thing that they did to Jake all the time, as you're going to see.
Killing of a black man.
It's the equivalent. It was actually murder. According to the Bible, killing is something that's done when someone commits a crime that's worthy of death. Murder is when you kill someone unrighteously, premeditated. there is a difference between killing and murder. Because in the Bible, there is something called an avenger of blood. The person, the blood relative of the person you killed, father, son, brother, uncle, actually has the right to put you to death. You know, that's why we have sanctuary cities for when people died accidentally. Okay, so everybody's a Christian until the scriptures come out.
An old-time lynching in the first half of the century in East Texas and also in Jasper County. There were a number of things similar to this where they drug blacks behind old Model T Fords and vehicles and things and then hung them up to a tree. And this dragging thing is similar to the kinds of racial crimes you saw in the 1910s and 20s.
No one ever went to jail for any of those. Thousands and thousands of hangings and murders, burnings and lynchings, and not one Edomite ever went to prison for any of it. This woman was even persecuted for performing this song.
Their strange fruit, blood on the leaves, and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
This is old jail building. It's still standing.
86-year-old James Cameron remembers clearly what happened to him more than 70 years ago. August 6, 1930. The police stormed his family's house in Marion, Indiana. James was accused of murder and rape of a young white couple.
That house was just shaking like that, like a storm. It did it when they knocked on the door. And my mother got up and opened the door. She said, "What is it?" Says, "What's the matter?" And they said, "Does James Cameron live here?" And she said, "Yeah, he's my only son." Said, "What's the matter? Is he in some kind of trouble?" And they wouldn't tell her. And she began to cry like a baby. And one of the police said, "Did you tell your mother what you and those boys did tonight?" I said, "We haven't done anything." He said, "The hell you haven't." He said, "You went out here and you raped a white woman and you shot a white man." I said, "I don't know anything about it." And I can see my mother standing there now in the doorway, silhouetted by the old kerosene lamp that we had in the house. We didn't have electricity. And she's standing there wringing her hands and crying like a babe. And she's asking the police to take her instead of me for something I had done.
The mob was waiting, ready to take the law into its own hands. This was an all too frequent scene in the United States. At about the same time, a black pregnant woman, Mary Tyler, demanded justice for the lynching of her husband. What transpired is described in Leon Litwack's essay, Hellhounds.
For making such a threat, a mob of several hundred men and women determined to teach her a lesson. After tying her ankles together, they hung her from a tree head downward. Dousing her clothes with gasoline, they burned them from her body. While she was still alive, someone used a knife ordinarily reserved for splitting hogs to cut open the woman's abdomen. The infant fell from her womb to the ground and cried briefly, whereupon a member of this Valdosta, Georgia mob crushed the baby's head beneath his heel.
They stomped the baby in the head with his boot. You saw that man, his pants was down. They had already cut his penis off. And more than likely, they cut his penis off before he was dead, because this is what they would do. While you hang in there helpless, they will cut off your ears, your finger, your penis, and keep it as souvenirs in jars. And believe me, there's a lot of Edomites that still have these body parts in jars and things in their houses and their collections. Colossians 3:25. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of persons. Revelation 18:6. And it reads, reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled, fill unto her double. They're going to get double of everything you've seen and everything you've heard. This is Isaiah 33:18. Thine heart, meaning your mind, shall meditate terror. Call halal Yahweh Shanah Shai by Hashem Rakakwadash. Wa Abababal. Shalawam. Kwam Yasharala. And for you Edomites and you heathen, payback is a bitch.